What is up, my party people? This is Beef Supreme. I am here with an all-new segment called I've Got Beef. These are going to be tiny videos from my tiny brain, and I'm going to be talking about particular builds that we're going to have to defend ourselves against. We want to play this game, and god dang, do we get so upset when things just don't go right, and it's just like, how was I supposed to know that was coming? So we're going to be talking about how to react and how to move forward from particular builds from particular races. In this particular episode, we're going to be talking about the Zerg Roach Push. Very interesting indeed. It's very strong against Protoss. The Roaches tear Zealots a new butt, and it's incredibly difficult for Protoss players to keep alive. It's especially difficult to keep Zerglings from getting into your base because Roaches just do so much damage and are so dangerous. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about how to scout, what you need to be paying attention to. This is my 9th probe, putting down a 9 pylon. Notice the pylon placement is going to be behind the front wall. I don't want it to be able to get easily sniped. If this were a roach push, or any kind of push with a ranged unit, if your pylon is next to the wall here, any vision that they get either from an overlord or if they put like a unit up here on the ramp makes these easily sniped if they're close to the wall. So that's why you have it far back here, and then you choke off your ramp closer up here. So it's just something to really keep in mind. Right now my regular probie is just chilling out, hanging out in the Zerg base, and I see that there's no real early pool. This is just like a 13 or 14 pool. Nothing big. As a Protoss player, like, okay, I can kind of breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief. Don't have to think that there are any intense Zerglings coming up. Gas on 14, just making sure to not get supply blocked. This is going to be saturated. I'm going to be working on just a standard 3-gate opener. I'm going to be going 3 gates, and the idea is to get 3 gates, pump out a decent army, and then move out, and then get ready to expand. Just continue building units, and then once you've built those units, you can move forward at trying to saturate your main and your natural. So right now, there is spawning pool is finished. Take a look at the production tab. There are only 2 Zerglings on the way. That's just something that's really, really important because obviously in this build, everything is very, very tight. Timing of things is very, very tight. These 2 Zerglings' job is to get this probe out of the base. Now, unfortunately, in this particular video, I did run away. I was like, oh, yipe, yipe, yipe. But the truth of the matter is, I really should have just tried to stay in this base for as long as I possibly could. You know, tried to do one last zing around, because if you notice, the timing of the Roach Warren was immediately after my probe got taken out of the base, and he's just going to die anyway because these Zerglings are going to be able to keep up with him. So, never a good situation, but I do have an inkling of what's going on because only 2 Zerglings popped out of those first of those first eggs coming out of the hatchery. So very interesting, and I'm just going to be continuing to stick with my build, you know, using a zealot to complete my wall here, probing up as per usual. I have chrono boost energy being spent. Why isn't it being spent? Should be being spent on my on something, either probes or the chrono. There we go. Glad, thank you for doing that. So I'm going to be just sticking to the game plan. Haven't seen anything yet, don't really know what's going on, but I do have a slight idea, mainly because of those 2 Zerglings, just kind of cluing that in. Right now, unfortunately, this Stalker is not going to be able to take this Overlord out. Sniping off Overlords early for Zerg is such a pain in their butt. They do not like losing those Overlords. It really delays pushes, really gets them that early supply block. Cuts down on their drone production early on. So here come the Roaches. We have a total of 6 Roaches. As you look, the metabolic boost is almost finished, and there are 12 Lings on the way to help come with these Roaches and try to win the game. So realistically, some various strategies that you're going to see, just continuing to do chrono more on the warp gate technology. Want to be able to get that in. I was probably off by a little bit. Want to make sure I'm not going to be getting supply blocked after my initial warp in. So a couple of things to note here. I'm going to pause real quickly. Okay, so I'm on a standard 3 gate, and I've opted for 3 Stalkers. This was kind of lucky on my part because I sort of anticipated that Roaches were going to happen, but I didn't necessarily scout that Roaches were going to be happening. Doesn't mean a bad thing. It's not like Stalkers are a tailbrew unit by any stretch, but kind of behooved me to have it be real Stalker heavy on my first warp in. So had this been really Zealot heavy, this has been a lot more difficult to really deal with. So couple of strategies that some Zerg players are going to entail in this particular case is they're going to be able to either utilize these little Zerglings to try to get vision up here and try to snipe this Zealot. Now, if you notice, these Roaches are going to have to be in this position if they wanted to be able to easily snipe this Zealot, so that's good for my building positioning as far as that's concerned. It kind of keeps it further away, makes it harder for them. My army can be up here and take pot shots down at them, which makes it much more difficult. Another thing that they can use, other than Zerglings to get on the ramp to give vision, is they can also utilize their Overlords and be able to keep their Overlord floating around. If there were, say this wall was backwards, say I built this direction and this direction, and the gap was right here, the Overlord can spot for these Roaches. They can snipe that Zealot really quickly, and then all of these Zerglings that are on their way are going to key their way all the way up and into your mineral line. So never a good situation to be in. So in this particular case, I have good building placement, and it's good to pay attention to. I do have this sentry. I'm paying really close attention to it. Wired 8X just pushing forward with these Roaches. He wants to see what's going on. There are a lot of Stalkers here. It's going to be very difficult. The wall, really helpful in this particular big misclick from Wired. I don't think he was actually trying at this particular case. He's like, okay, well, yeah, this is pretty much well defended, and not really a whole lot that he's going to be able to do. Warping in another Zealot to help keep this wall just more and more sturdy, because these Zealots just are very low profile. Only a couple of Zerglings can attack them at a time, so just lasts a very, very long time. So there you have it. That's really all there is. My macro did slip up quite a bit, and this isn't a whole game, which is why I left. We were just doing the push itself. So there's lots of things that you can institute from this opening, and what I can do is put down, you know, I could put down a fourth gate and just counterattack with counterattack pressure if I want, or I can utilize this extremely high money that I have running over here to expand, which is probably what I would have done in all hopes. So there you have it. Thanks for watching this episode of I've Got Beef. There's going to be much more in the future. If there are any requests for particular builds or things that viewers would like to see, please leave them in the comments below, and I will definitely try to do them. Thanks for watching.